The proposed immigration policy by the government is a controversial and complex issue that has implications for the supply and demand of food products in the country. In this section, we will examine how the plan to increase immigration could affect the availability, price, and quality of food for consumers and producers. One of the main arguments in favor of increasing immigration is that it would help address the labor shortage in the agricultural sector, which has been worsened by the pandemic and Brexit. According to a report by The Guardian, ministers have called for immigration and food prices to increase to solve the food crisis, as fruit and vegetables have been rotting in the fields due to a lack of workers. The National Farmers Union, NFU, has also urged the government to set a food self-sufficiency target and increase the number of temporary visas for agricultural workers. By allowing more immigrants to work in farms, the government hopes to boost food production, reduce food waste, and ensure food security. However, increasing immigration could also have negative effects on the supply and demand of food products in the country. For one thing, more immigrants would mean more mouths to feed, which could increase the demand for food and put pressure on the existing food supply chain. Moreover, some immigrants may have different dietary preferences and habits than the native population, which could affect the demand for certain types of food and create imbalances in the market. For example, according to a report by Time, some migrants from Central America have been reluctant to eat processed food provided by shelters and aid groups along the EU-Mexico border, preferring fresh fruits and vegetables instead. This could pose a challenge for food distributors and retailers who have to cater to diverse tastes and needs. Another potential impact of increasing immigration on the supply and demand of food products in the country is that it could affect the price and quality of food. On one hand, more immigrants could lower the cost of labor and production for farmers and food manufacturers, which could lead to lower prices for consumers. On the other hand, more immigrants could also increase the competition for land, water, and other resources needed for food production, which could drive up the cost of inputs and lead to higher prices for consumers. Furthermore, more immigrants could also affect the quality and safety standards of food products, as they may bring different practices and regulations from their countries of origin. For instance, according to a report by The Guardian, some farmers have raised concerns about animal welfare and environmental issues related to importing more workers from countries with lower standards than the UK. In conclusion, the proposed immigration policy by the government could have both positive and negative effects on the supply and demand of food products in the country. It could help solve the labor shortage in the agricultural sector, but it could also increase the demand for food, affect the market equilibrium, and influence the price and quality of food. Therefore, it is important that the government considers all these factors and consults with various stakeholders before implementing its plan. The minister's plan to increase immigration and food prices will have a significant impact on the average household budget and food security in the UK. According to The Guardian, food prices in the UK are lower than across Europe, but they are increasing with inflation. Last week, there was a record 17.8% increase in the cost of fresh food year on year. This means that consumers will have to spend more of their income on groceries, leaving less for other expenses. The increased food prices will also affect the food security of millions of people who are already struggling to afford enough nutritious food. The Food Foundation estimates that 14.6 million people in the UK are living in households that are unable to access a healthy diet. The rising cost of food will make it harder for them to meet their dietary needs and may lead to health problems such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. One of the main reasons for the increased food prices is the shortage of farm workers, which has caused fruit and vegetables to remain unpicked and left to rot on British farms. The shortage is partly due to the tighter immigration restrictions imposed by the Home Office, which limit the number of temporary visas for agricultural workers.